Welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Simply Walk the Talk. I am your host, JoshuaJHolland, and today we have another wonderful episode. I feel like all of my episodes are wonderful because I get an opportunity to learn from some of the best in the world. And so today we have a wonderful guest on the show. Her name is Cru von Holtzendorff-Fehling. And you may recognize that last name because she is the wife of Philip. And we had Philip on the show a while back. I don't remember what episode it was, but he runs the company Lila Quantum Tech. And we had a really good chat with everything he's doing. And you may recall at some point throughout the chat with Philip, we did talk about his wife, who is doing a lot of cool things. And so we have now the opportunity to have Cru on the show. And Cru is a holistic coach and healer who was born with the ability to see and heal energy fields. That's cool. Since more than 20 years, she has coached and helped countless individuals and business clients internationally with her own coaching company, Cru-Essence. She is also a spokesperson for the boutique nature cosmetic firm Akasha in the US. And Cru is married to the love of her life and has two beautiful, almost grown children. She lives in the US and Costa Rica, and I believe she's actually calling in from Costa Rica as we speak. So Cru, welcome to the show.
Hi, Josh. Hi, everybody.
So, if you're watching this video, you'll see that Cru has amazing radiant energy, and her background is amazing. I'm a little bit jealous of that background. She's in Costa Rica, and, I think the only way I could compare my background to hers is if I did the virtual background thing, but we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So Cru, let's just kind of dive in to everything that you're doing and I guess give people a reason to continue listening and watching this show.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I wanted to, so, I had a quick chat with Philip about bringing you onto the show, and he was like, hey, you know what, like Cru is doing some really cool things, and you being the spokesperson for this Akasha Sacred firm, I wanted to bring you on and learn all about it myself, because full disclosure, I haven't had a chance to really dive into the things that you're doing. But when I saw the intro and I saw some of the things on the website, I thought, oh yeah, this is right up my alley, and I think this would be right up the alley of all the followers here. So let's just dive into your background a little bit, especially your abilities to be able to see and heal energy fields. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so it's like maybe for many people it's woo-woo, but it's actually something that everybody can do. It's just that we are not trained to do this, and I was lucky enough to be born to a mother that helped me to understand that there's nothing that I need to suppress, that this is actually very normal for some people to awaken into this life fully aware of more than just the physical reality or the five sensory experience. And so she fostered me in a way to keep this going throughout all these stages that you want to be like everybody else, like in when the teenage phase starts, and always gave me a sense of normality. So that was really wonderful, and that's one of the things I'm most grateful for, that I was able to train these abilities because I think that many of us are actually born with this ability, but then, we hear our parents say, oh, stop fantasizing, or, oh, this child has such an amazing imagination. Like, okay, this is time now to grow up and be in school, like at the age of, in America, it's like 4 years old when you start doing cognitive things. So, then these things get lost. It's like any muscle that you don't train. You notice you're very into fitness and sport and a very healthy body. So you know that if you don't take care of something, then it will start to go down and maybe even completely diminish, like in health or in muscle tone or whatever. And it's the same thing with any ability, same thing with our brain. People that grow up that are never challenged on their brain waves, in capacity, like for instance, they can't go to school because they grow up in a very poor environment where they have to run the streets and sell candy or whatever, like their brain will not live up to their full capacity. And so it's the same with all senses. And when we are not trained to, or we're not training to use those other senses that we all have, then we just for, forget them. Like we don't even know that we have them. They're like, they feel like they're not there, but they're actually there. And I was just lucky um, to have a mother that knew that what I was talking about was real, even though she can't see the way that I saw things. And so she helped me to train those muscles, basically.
Mm.
And then later on, of course, I had this phase like everybody else that I just want to do whatever I want. I don't want to be a healer, like healers often don't want to be healers.
Right.
There's something about this. And so I was a climber actually and a avid skier. So for a lot of time of my 20s, I did nothing but climbing and skiing all over the world. Um, Eventually, with my first child, I decided that I need to put my feet on the ground and started to actually work, which I kind of always have done. I've always been that person that everybody came to seek for answers or advice, or there's some knowledge in me that has come from a long time being around in this existence, and that just works very well for many, many, many situations and people's problems. And so eventually I've started to create a business out of that and decided, okay, I'm going to be the healer that I was born to be. And on that path, actually, I met Akasha Sacred, which is a long time ago. They started about 20 years ago and they were very big in Asia because the founder of the company went to Asia. She's also a spiritual teacher, just like me. She's an amazing healer as well. Like she's in a very her own very beautiful competency and understanding the purity of things, like so, which brings us right into the main mission of Akasha Sacred is to really like what's the best biohacker in the world? It's the nature. Because if you look like here, let me turn this a little bit, you see all that beauty. That's just nature. We're not doing anything.
Right.
It's this beautiful nature that is just so vibrant and just knows how to be abundant in every way, in its beauty way, and in its radiance way, and in its nourishing way. Like so, there's all of that, and so we are often seeking to unfold this in us. So that's my thing, like that I'm working in my business with to unfold what is really truly you in you and stop all these voices that tell you that you're any less than what you truly are and that is magnificent. And so this to getting to know this brand and getting to know Sonia Fisher is her name. um, was just perfect alignment. Like since then, I have not used anything other in my face. I'm not big into makeup and things like this. Like I am what I am. I'm 48 and I'm trying to be beautiful from the inside out. And Akasha is just the answer to this. Like I have been through everything natural and pure because that was always my interest to line up whatever I'm using. It should be lined up with the essence of my life and the essence of my work as well. So yeah, Akasha was just the perfect answer, and it's it's like the beauty of it is that it uses the multitude of availability in nature in their products, and not only the um, diversity and all of the magnificence that is there, it's also the purity. Like every one of their products can be eaten. I am brushing my
Mm.
teeth with their shampoo.
Wow.
So it's actually really beautiful. That shampoo is there's several shampoos. The shampoos are not in the US yet. They're coming to the US now. I've helped them to expand into the US, and I'm the spokesperson for them in this here in the US because they're working on their English abilities, and but I think it's so valuable to bring across what Akasha is all about that we wanted to make sure that everybody really hears all about it. And I'm really like I live in the US, so my English is much better, and that's why I'm there. And also, they're so close to my heart. I believe in everything that they do. I've seen it like my kids, they're boys. I have a 15-year-old motocrosser and a 19-year-old rapper. So they're also very spiritual in their own way, but they also really love um, the world in all their ways, and they all use Akasha and they don't use anything else, like because they can just feel there's something different about this brand than it is with all other brands, even though there's many amazing brands out there that do amazing things. But I think it's what the people that are behind Akasha that make it different. Also, all their products are charged with frequencies, and now they're also, since a year and a half, they're also charged with Lila quantum technology, so with quantum energy, which we all know by now is like the answer to a lot of wishes that we all have as humans in this experience. And so it's really just so perfect in every way. And
Beautiful.
so that was really a good match to have something that I can use for everything that is on my body that brings out what is in every one of us. We are
Right.
all like such beautiful beings, and everything that we believe that is different is just a lie, straight up lie. Like it's something that we have learned to believe out of too many voices that didn't see right or didn't know. They didn't mean to hurt us. It's just that's just what the world was like, like and but now I think we're coming into a very different time, and it's time for us to awaken to the truth, and the truth that we're all beautiful, and we should bring that out and
Well said.
live it.
Well
Yeah.
said. Yes. You know, there's a lot, I think, a lot of things we can unpack in what you just expressed.
Hmm.
And I think it's quite obvious from my perspective that you are very authentic and genuine in everything that you do. And it's truly beautiful to hear it come out. And so I want people to really take the time to check out this video because as a 48-year-old woman, you're from Germany, right?
Yes.
And and you're glowing with radiance, and I think that should be a message to those who need to learn how to age gracefully and to tap into the true beauty within all of us, like you just mentioned. And one of the questions that comes up is pertinent to your childhood. Do you recall when and how you first understood that you had a certain ability that was maybe different than others? Can you recall?
Yes. So of course, like I've always experienced the world in all of its facets, like because that was, and I thought, of course, as a little child, you don't understand that everybody else is maybe not like that, like so you think everybody sees the world like this. So you start to realize that something is different with yourself when you start communicating with others. So that was around the age of 3 years old. I mean, I communicated with my family, but I was also so natural in the way that I was myself. In a way, I've always had this, that it didn't really occur to me until I spoke to other children. Because when I spoke about things that I saw, they were very outright with me. I think adults were just like, this child, has a lot of fantasy. Like,
Right.
and my mom just always asked me, oh, that's interesting. Tell me about it, or something like this, like, so she was not, and I just thought that was because she's my mom. So really, when I heard the truth was when I spoke to other children, because other children then said, what you're seeing is stupid, or like, how children can be.
Right.
Um,
Very
so that
honest.
was a bit later, maybe, yeah, like between 3 and 5. And then I was raised Catholic, and we went to church, and we get Holy Communion with 6. I think that's the same in the US. I'm not quite sure, but um, so I was in this church school that was mandatory for this Holy Communion to happen. And I was sitting in church and I was listening to this pastor that I experienced as a pretty nice person, like on an everyday basis. But he was suddenly in Mass, he said all these things that I looked around and I thought, we are not so ugly as we are being depicted, like I
Mm.
am. So I'm looking to Jesus, and I could never quite understand, like, why is Jesus always dead in church, because he felt so alive to me, like to me there, like at this time, of course you have no concepts as child, like, so I didn't understand the concept of death and life, because when you see energies, everything is always alive, like it's not like angels and all these spirits, like that, I perceive them more like energy fields, frequencies, like that are just as alive as I am, like I just felt they
Mm.
were the same as me and I'm the same as them, and there's no difference between all of this. So often I looked at him and I could feel his love and and truth as well, like, and I was like, why is he talking like this? Like, I mean,
Mm.
this is not right, like, I mean, I look to my neighbors and I see all this. I see, of course, the suffering and all of these things as well, which I can say something to, especially in later years. I felt so responsible for to cure all the suffering, like, and so often I had conversations and I checked out. I didn't listen to the pastor anymore and just had conversations with everything else there, because it was much more true, like, and
Mm.
that's when I started to cognitively understand that something was really different, because I started to ask around if other people also think that maybe something is not quite as right as it could feel like, like, and then they were like, no, what's so, it's all good, like, so I realized, okay, so thank God my mom always in those moments said, there's nothing wrong with you. You're just different, and different is not wrong. So I think that helped
Mm.
me tremendously to not become very self-conscious, like, and insecure, and which was also not so much in my nature, but I think it could have happened with another way of response to this difference that I had. And then later on, like, I saw a lot of suffering, and I actually started to respond to suffering in a way that I felt like I needed to help. And I think that happens to a lot of healers, that suddenly when they observe what um, is wrong, in the world or in people or in people's lives, then they feel like they have these abilities that they suddenly feel so responsible. And that can also drive you away because it can be overwhelming, like
Right.
to see all the time everything. So for many years, I really tried to be like everybody else and
Mm.
pretend I don't have all that. Of course, try to cheat yourself. That never works very long.
Never works. Well, no, it's really beautiful because what you just mentioned is one of the main reasons why I do what I do, right? And we can classify people in certain categories, but I've had people say to me many times that they feel like I'm a healer in many respects, and I can relate to some of what you're talking about because especially when you have this knowledge and experience within ourselves that feels so viscerally right, um, it almost feels wrong not to share it,
Yeah,
and so I can really relate to what you're talking about because I see it every day. I literally see it every day, and this is one of the main reasons why I'm very fortunate and blessed to be able to be in front of the camera and to have this presence that I can then share more of my story, more of my experience, and also to do what we're doing now, have people like yourself on the show, and to also share. And so I wanted to ask that question because I do understand that there's going to be a lot of people who check out, right? They're like, oh, this lady's talking about energy fields and healing and this and that, and like I want to know how to eat right or work out right or what's the best products to put on my face. But there's so much more to that, right?
yeah,
There's so much more to that, and I want to definitely thank your mother for being the rock that she is to help foster this ability within you because also to your point, I feel like there's a lot of us that have all of us have these abilities, but they get suppressed earlier and earlier and earlier
yes.
throughout life. And what would happen if we didn't do that? Like as the mothers and fathers and the grandparents of the world, like what would happen if we really allowed these amazing beings to fully be themselves? We would have a very different world.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
we will still have a lot of the world, all the beauty in the world, and maybe even the suffering, because every soul chooses their path and needs the suffering. I had a lot of suffering. I was very sick for a very long time. I had Lyme's disease for 13 years, nearly didn't make it. And so I know all about it, how important that body is and how important suffering is, because that suffering taught me to be so humble towards this physical reality, like, so for all the people that think I'm talking all sorts of crap, I can tell you one thing: I am so in this body, like more so than I have ever been, because this body has taught me so much about what is real in this moment. So I know all about how to eat right, and
Yeah.
so it's not just, I think that's also a really interesting topic because so many healers stay in this other world, like, and I had a good chance staying in my butterfly world, like where I was just having fun, and but that's not why I came here. So thank God I learned all the other things as well, because today I have such a deep connection to everything and I don't feel overwhelmed anymore with the suffering in the world. I know it's part of growth, like it was part of my growth. It is part of everybody's growth. So I think we will have, but what we would see is a world that would know how to handle growth and
Mm.
suffering. And what we see is a world that is overwhelmed with the suffering and overwhelmed with the need to grow, because everybody is basically pulling up the shoulders and saying, I don't know how to do it. Like, it's like, I
Right.
I know what you're saying, I hear you, but I don't know how to do it. And this is the huge difference. I see it with my children that I raised that way. um they do their things and they have their suffering, and like, and they have their stories and things like this, but they know how to handle it. They know when things get in a place where they really need to do something about it. they do something about it, or they come and ask, what can we do about it? Like there's an awareness there for solution that comes from actually knowing that the solution is right inside of me, like, so if I were to work with anyone that is in your audience and they would come to me with whatever their issue is, and that could be very related to only like, I want to have a healthy body, and like we would address everything, like there's not just like, that's why I'm using cosmetic like Akasha Sacred, because it's not just an internal or spiritual effort or an energetic effort, it's an effort of all things, like, and to come from it more on a holistic way, like we will really grab it all together, like we won't exclude certain things. And a lot of people are just in the body and they still can't get it right, like,
Right.
and they are the most fittest and healthiest and whatever else, but they're unhappy and unfulfilled and constantly feel like something's missing, and they train more and they run more and it's still not answering, and they eat healthier and maybe eat nothing at all anymore or whatever, like there's a multitude of ways how to keep trying, and then it's still not answering, because also we cannot only work with the body. Like, this is why some products are good products, but that really deep effect that you want from a product, like that comes because it's whole in itself. Like it has a completeness by allowing all aspects of completeness to be in there, and that distinguishes a good product to an amazing product, like it doesn't matter what it is, like it can be food that is cooked with love is a very different kind of food than a food that is cooked mechanically, like
Well said. Well
and
said.
it will totally nourish you in a very distinguishable way. so
Well said.
so we can demystify all this spirituality. I am a big fan of Muhammad and Buddha, because they all, like, it doesn't matter if it's Jesus or somebody else, like they're all out there. They have all done their share, like it's of guiding different people up the same mountain towards where their truth is waiting for them, their own truth, not a common truth. And so spirituality doesn't have to be so mystic. It can be very hands-on, and just understand that there's more to you than just five senses and physical matter. And that when you
Well
take
said.
care of all of it, then you will have a very abundant life.
I love that. I think it's wonderful, I'm a very big fan of the holistic approach. It's the reason why I wrote a book called The Awareness Shift, which for a lot of people who don't know me or who haven't had a chance to know me over a span of 2 decades in this work, they realize that I'm way more than just a fitness trainer, right? And the fitness piece may be that catalyst into the entirety of everything, and sometimes that's what draws people in. My hope is that we do whatever we can to draw people in, and if it's people who are very much into the woo woo or the esoteric world, great, we can capture them too. But let's not miss out or leave out anyone else simply because we can't identify with the holistic approach, right?
And that's
So
amazing that you're picking the people up where they are, and then
yeah,
you allow them to expand their horizons, like, or their worlds, like with the guests that you're inviting, and with what you're talking about as well, like with your internal mission. And
right.
that's amazing.
So here we are at around the 30-minute mark, and this is a part of the show where we get an opportunity to do a Pomodoro break. And part of the reasons why I like to talk about Pomodoro breaks is because it serves as a break in this show, right? And so rather than have a commercial come on and say, this show is brought to you by, I would prefer to get people moving, or to get people moving mentally or physically, right? So we've been talking about your background. We've talked about, where you've gotten to this point with working with Akasha Sacred. But let's just divert for a moment and do a Pomodoro break, and then we'll jump right back in. How about that?
Okay, so let's all just close our eyes for a second
Okay.
and just pay attention to your breath. Now I want you to feel your arms and just start to lift them. If you can't lift them for whatever reasons, maybe just, like stretch your fingers really wide. But if you can lift your arms, then I want you to feel how your arms lift and stretch your fingers and stretch your whole self into, maybe you're lying down, so you're stretching it behind you. Maybe you're sitting and you're stretching it upwards. And see how your whole body starts to lift out of your pelvis. And then go back with your awareness to your breath. And feel how that breath can go so much deeper now. Take that heaviness out of your pelvis and make yourself light. Stretch those hands. Make sure that your shoulders don't get too close to your ears, like relax them down. And let that breath fall all the way into your belly. Feel that. That is you.
That is beautiful. That is a very quick taste, a very quick sample into the coaching of Cru, and thank you for that. Like, I always find the Pomodoro breaks to be very interesting with each person I have on, because it's going to always be different, or I would say it's usually very different from person to person. So thank you for sharing that. And my hope is that for those that are listening, I know it may be challenging to only listen to breath and to only listen to a few cues here and there, but certainly go to the video and if nothing else, use that as something to kind of get you out of your headspace, because just imagine how powerful the breath is. I talk about breath so much, and it's truly us, right? It's the one thing that reminds us of who we are. And so if you find yourself getting out of your own body and out of your head, and you feel like you're someone else, or you're reacting in ways that you shouldn't be, that doesn't feel right, then just go back to your breath. And
actually, on the Akasha sacred.com page, to every one of their, like, I will talk about the products for a little bit, if it's okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna share the page now.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So if you're only listening, we are now jumping to the akashasacred.com website, and please continue.
And there is actually a lot of rituals. They have the whole spectrum of the rainbow colors is in their products. So there's this is just one of a part of my page, like on their page, they're coming online tomorrow. So by the time you see this video, they have already come online, and you see there's so much colors, and this is the same thing is in their products, and for every one of their products there is a ritual. So if you ever in need for something, you can just go to their website and read through. This is for free, like you don't need that oil. It's wonderful to have the oil. Like, for instance, here I have one I brought with me. This is the red oil, the root chakra oil, and you just pump a little bit if you have it in your palm, and then you gently. You see all the oils actually in her lab on that picture that was just there.
This one here?
Bit. Yeah, with Leo. That's Leo, the doggy. And then you just smell those ingredients, because they will already initiate something in your body, because our body is nature. And in this is nature. And to be, when nature and nature gets in contact with one another, true, pure nature, and this is what we are, and this is what these products are, then there will be resonance. And we can all understand resonance a little bit, like we know that we react to different things differently, and we react to people that are resonating love differently to people that resonate anger. Or, I mean, a lot of people react very much with resonances to other people, which is also nature with nature. And so there's resonance. So when the purity of nature will go in resonance with the purity within us that is always in us, no matter what suffering we're going through, then there will be a resonance, and that resonance will trigger a chain reactions, like that domino piece that we like top over, or whatever the English term is for that, and then it takes that domino effect. So just smelling, because fragrance is a frequency as well, and fragrance is in nature. Like everybody knows that. Everybody has smelled on a flower at least when they were a kid, and we know that that does something with us. And so that smelling part is such an important and vital part. And we have a phrase in Germany. It's like, I can't smell you. That means actually I don't like you, like it doesn't work in English, but in the German language there is like that. If I don't like somebody, I say I can't smell this person, like, so there is something with this. Like smell is a very important thing for us humans to. Animals do that. They smell things before they eat something, or they would never be poisoned so easily as us humans because they kind of smell when something isn't right with them. And so smell is a beautiful way to trigger response in the brain, and that brain response will trigger other functions in our organs and everything. So that is just the physical side of it. And then of course it will also trigger responses in our energy fields. So it's a really beautiful set of oils that go through all the rainbow colors and the chakras. I don't know if people know what chakras are, but if you don't know it, Google it. It's a very wildly available knowledge now, so you can read up about it more. But every one of their oils is designated to a chakra, and what that means for the physical body and for your energetical body as well. And then you can just like use, like for instance, the red oil. It's so beautiful. That's why I have to keep showing it. It's an amazing thing for when you have children and have a hard time falling asleep, for instance. I just massage their feet with roots, like there's actually root essential oils in this specific oil that help, like vetiver, for instance, which is a famous plant because it's also in the Chanel No. 5, so it's a well-known beauty plant, but it does make 6 feet roots. It's a grass and it makes 6 feet roots. And wow. So there's a lot of root strength in that. And what do we really need in a world that is constantly moving is to feel roots. And our children are often very unrooted because of, a million distractors. Nowadays it's social media and Netflix and all sorts of things, like they have a hard time staying rooted in themselves. So that oil is a beautiful, not only for children. I mean, I think adults have these issues as well. But that's wonderful. And then it makes my skin so soft. Like I use it for the legs a lot. And
what is the name of that one, by the way?
That's the red oil. It's just called red.
It's called red oil.
Yeah.
Red oil.
So
okay.
We made it easy.
That's easy enough.
And then there is orange, and there is yellow, and there's green, and there's light blue and dark, like indigo blue and violet, which is the chakras that we have on our physical level. And then we have 4 extra oils that are designed for very specific things. For instance, for all the fitness people here, Like we all know how wonderful it is to have a sauna after we've worked out our bodies really well. We do the sauna in order to uh, integrate the flow that we have just worked ourselves through. And then if you after sauna put that silver oil on your skin, there's ingredients in the silver oil that just regenerate flow, like flow in what is that system with the blood in it? Like
The lymph system.
lymph and blood circulation and everything. It's just so beautiful. Um, the smell alone is already triggering it. Like I'm letting go. I'm letting behind whatever I just let behind, and so they can be used in so many ways. Like if you are in a yoga practice and you want to intensify your experience in the yoga practice, you can also use the oils during practice. You know, like put a little bit on your skin, and and that smell will just help you. Like for instance, the yellow oil is really beautiful also for flow and opening and coming to center and to peace, and it helps in meditation. So these are just the oils, you know, like I mean, just the oils. There,
Right.
I
Well, yeah,
drag them
because
everywhere.
yeah, I mean, I think it's important for people, who may be just listening and haven't had a chance to see
Yeah.
me going through the website. But it sounds like you have oils, you have
Yes.
lotions,
So there's a
and
facial products. Unfortunately, um, I went to Costa Rica here, and all the products are in the suitcase of my husband. That is coming next week. I had to come a bit earlier because of constructions we have going on here. So, but I have a few here that I already had here. Um, so this is the serum for the face. It's called Amrita Glow. It will have a new name for America actually soon. Um, it will be called glowing embers. Who doesn't
glowing
want to be a
embers.
glowing embers or
Right,
emperor?
right. Glowing
um,
emperor, exactly.
so you see, I'm pumping it here onto
Hmm.
my palm, and always the first thing that I do with no matter what product I'm using, shampoo or face, the first thing is I'm smelling. It's like it takes a second, you know, like into that smell, that second will bring you in a contact to yourself, which is another beautiful thing with Akasha products that it really wants you to connect with you. And then in that second where you're halting and not just being in emotion, it's already a second where you connected back to yourself, even though you didn't know you're doing it. And then you just, this is an amazing after washing, you know, like your face, like a moisturizer. It has beautiful ingredients, and it's also amazing for every person that travels a lot in planes, like I am. Like this thing is in my purse because plain air is dry and icky, and I just pump a little bit and put that on my face, and I feel like I'm immediately getting my glow back because it's there. It's just being suppressed by all the surrounding circumstances. Every one of us has this glowing skin, no matter what you're looking at in the window, in the mirror right now. It's there. It's just suppressed, and it has to come back out. And those, all of the products from Akasha actually do bring that back out. Like it brings out your
Beautiful.
beauty, and it doesn't cover up. You know, like it's not like a something that you put on and then suddenly something else is trying to glow for you. Like, no, we want you to glow your beauty into this world because that's the best thing you can be is you. And yeah, here, for instance, we have the This is a conditioner product which I use as a mask. And that thing goes with me even when I'm going camping. Sometimes we go to festivals with or conferences, you know, like and we're in a hotel or in a tent where the air is not so great, you know, like or in a hotel where you can't open the windows, you know, like and then this is in the morning. I have puffy eyes, like everybody has in the morning after not very good air in your sleeping environment. I put this on in minutes. My skin regenerates pH levels out on my skin. My drainage will start happening, like, which is what is natural to all of us. It's just that sometimes the skin forgets how to do it. This is the answer. Like, and you can put it in hair. It's actually designed for hair, but we have all learned to abuse the product into different functions. And so this product will not be available yet in the US, but it will come by the beginning of the new year, like the shampoos. Like, that's the shampoo that I'm brushing my teeth with as well.
And what is that one called?
This one is called Padma right now. It will have a different name though, but the color will stay the same and you will recognize it, because every product has its own color scheme. And we have like the rose facial cream, which I can't show you now. Unfortunately, all the products are so beautiful, because the beauty is, their interest is to bring the beauty into every aspect. Like, also the packaging is beautiful. It's pure, and like I said, everything is organic, and all the ingredients are sourced from the high standards. Like, so far, every one of the products was hand seared. Like, it's like, there is beauty in the production, beauty in the people that work with it, beauty in the people that founded it. Like, there's 3 founders, like Sonia Fisher, who is the initiator. She started with 49 flower essences, and then she wanted to bring the beauty of the diversity of nature into more facial products and things like that. She was she had a cosmetic studio. Like, you should see her. She is 64 and she looks like me.
Wow.
And I'm 48. So, like, she's an amazing example what it does when you truly live your own beauty, and when you actually help your beauty to come out and don't cover up, like. And then there's Malira Kopp, who is actually the soul of the company. She's running the whole company and make sure that Europe and Asia are saturated with this beauty, and she is what holds everything together, like, in her very beautiful, nourishing and motherly way. And then there's Sonia's son, Niels Geisler, who is actually responsible for all the beauty and the packaging. Like, he designs and he has a really beautiful way to be that calm and creative connector between all of them. This is just a beautiful company. Like,
I can feel your closeness and your passion to it just by watching you explain that. And it sounds like it's raining there. Is it raining?
Yes. Is it a problem?
No. It's great. I think it's beautiful. It's kind of well, it's nature, right?
Yeah,
and everything we've been talking about. Yeah. So that we can move on. I want to make sure that obviously at the end of this, we're going to allow people. We're going to make sure they know exactly how to find out more about each of these products and things like that. But one of the things that I definitely wanted to touch on, being that Philip and Lila Quantum Q is such a big part of what you both do. I wanted to ask you, how does that play a role in Akasha or in all the other things that you do?
So
like
basically,
with the energetics.
The Lila Q is all about enhancing what is already there, right? Like a quantum field is what we all are quantum fields, like, quants are the smallest particle of creation of matter. And when things are in connection, there will be resonance, and that creates field. Like, that's very simple. It's maybe more complicated, but I'm not a very scientific person.
Okay.
But we are all these fields, and what we managed to do with LilaQ products is that we were able to harness a stronger field, like that we basically created a field that is so much more the strength of our own field. Like everything is the quantum field, like, but so it's basically a really strong reminder of what is our truth. Like, because of course we have forgotten that we are all fields, like we think that this is what we are, and then often we have issues and struggle with things. It's not because we are incomplete, it's because we have forgotten that we are complete and that we can actually access all of these things. So LilaQ helps. If you put yourself in the block, for instance, then it helps you to be reminded, basically, like in simple words, like to be reminded of your own completeness and to re-access these abilities of you being the healer for you. You are nature. You're the best biohacker in this world, like just like nature. You for you. You have all the answers for you. It's just a matter of how to reconnect to that. Like it's the same. The work that I do is always empowering you to be the healer for you and not me, and being in a dependency to me, like, which is not the answer. I'm not the answer for you. I can just be a facilitator, a bridge, a helper, like, but you are the answer for everything in your life. And that's what quantum fields do. And by them putting their already so beautiful and enhanced products in a quantum field, that just potentiates. Like, there is a word for make.
Potentiates or amplifies.
Amplifies. Yes, that's the word.
I mean, I sorry to cut you off, but I just want to make sure, like, we give some people who don't have any reference to what the Lila Quantum block is about. It's essentially this block. Like, I'm holding up this hourglass, and imagine that there was no hourglass in the middle of the top and the bottom, and maybe it's more square than this. This is a very tall rectangle, but the idea would be whatever goes inside the block gets potentiated or amplified. And I imagine, yes, I think if anyone has, good. Yeah, so you can show us exactly what it is. But this is what I wanted to make sure people understand, is that when you have something that is already beautifully crafted and has a very amazing field, when you double that up, or like magnify that times however much, you put it inside this block, now you've got something that's way greater than what you started with. And I think it's amazing that you can start with something that's already amazing and pure and and energetically powerful, but now you just made it more powerful.
Yes, exactly. And that's the beauty about, like, I mean, this is like, if I put my hand in there, I shouldn't put it in with jewelry, because that will also enhance the frequency and amplify the frequency of the gold and the amethyst. I know it's actually aquamarine. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. So it's been in the block already. So not to put it too often in there is good, because then you overcharge it and it will be so intense. And gold has a frequency, we all know this from homeopathy, like that. The more you potent something, the stronger its effect is, like so.
Right.
So, but I can put my hand in here now, and that will immediately start to cleanse my blood, like rearrange my blood cells into order, like separating from one another, which they like to stack because of stress or EMFs or God knows what, like, and then when my blood cells are really beautiful in their own space, then they can be saturated with oxygen. So I have much more energy, I have much more focus and strength. So this is just one thing that I can do with the blog and my physical body. But then, of course, like everything, like your food, if you put your food in there, it will enhance the true qualities of that food that you're putting in there. if you put something dead in there, you might actually put some life in it, because initially in
Mm,
everything dead was also at some point life, and so it is really, really beautiful, the composition of these two companies, because their product already was so pure and so high vibrating and such a service to every individual in this world, like that it's this to enhance it with this and make it this the effect of it even stronger is like amazing because now you can even like especially for people that don't have endless funds available to spend on beautiful products, like they can um use a lot less and have the same effect, like for instance
mm,
with the oils, like if you just don't have enough oil, if enough funds to buy oil and put it all over your body all the time, like you just put a drop into an oil that you buy an oil like a really organic, beautiful almond oil or something, like even an olive oil, and put it in the blog. If you don't have a blog, then just take the oil as it is. Because if you have this oil and you put one drop of that into a little container with olive oil, then you have the vibrancy of this beautiful product in a very strong vibrancy in all of that oil, like, and then you can be a bit more generous with it, like
right.
we want these products to be with people. They are not super cheap, like because of their ingredients. And uh, it is in this world still like this. When you want to create something really good and healthy, it's still a little bit more expensive than just developing something that is not so pure, like
Right.
um, we learned all about this when we tried to open an all organic, almost all vegan, fast casual food concept in Memphis, Tennessee. The costs of every item were insane. It wasn't even able to buy organic products in bulk at the time, and eventually we had to level out how much the most important things we stayed with organic, but it was not survivable, like in the end also it didn't survive because I think Memphis was not ready at that time
Oh
yet.
yeah, I don't know if they're ready to this day, but one thing I did do while you were talking just now, I went back because I wanted to identify the exact episode in which I had Philip on, and that is episode 175. So if you want to learn a lot more about the Leela Q block and all things about Leela Quantum Tech, I would definitely say go and check out that episode. And and this has been such a fascinating talk with you because I definitely want to look more into actually using the products and things like that. So at some point, I would love to, I'm excited for it to all be available in the U.S. so I can get some as well. And who knows, maybe I'll make my way down to Costa Rica.
Yes.
I've been there before many times, and I've always wanted to do retreats there, and it's still on the books. I just have to get it planned and get it going. But as we start to wrap up, because I know we are both close on time, I have another appointment right after this. Is there anything else that you want to mention before we go into our last two questions?
Well, the one thing that I have maybe not mentioned yet is like a lot of companies, like they focus on one ingredient, or you might ask, as the person who's looking for Akasha products now, like maybe you go on their website and you're looking like to understand the theme, like, and the theme here is not we're using one product that is killing it for everything, like we are actually using the whole range of nature that is there for the specific need that you have. So the beauty of it is that you will have a variety in your bathroom or wherever you store your product that allows you to figure out what is my beauty hack today, because
Mm,
we are like we're all in this world of biohacking right now. It's a huge term and it's an amazing term. I think like my favorite term is I'm I'm seeing myself as a love hacker, and those people are really like the beauty hackers, meaning like we're hacking these secrets, like that are in beauty or in love or
Mm-hmm.
in bio in our physical reality, so that to have this amazing ability to ask myself in the morning, what is my biohack today? What is it that I'm needing? That reconnecting again, you to you becoming more aware of yourself while you're having something that supports you, So maybe today it's like, oh, my skin is really dry, like I need a very nourishing face cream. Or, hey, today I feel like light like a feather, so I want to have the rose face cream, like, so it's like more like lighter, or I'm in a very, like here in Costa Rica, it's very good to have a face cream that is not, because it's a lot of moisture here, so it's not too saturated. But then I live also in Santa Fe in the desert, and there I need a completely different answer to my skin there, which is the opposite of here. And so this is the beauty in it. Like if you're looking for a theme, the theme is variety, because you are not just one thing all the time. I mean, you are always you, but your day is different today than it will be tomorrow. And it's good when you
Mm-hmm.
answer to yourself in a way that you have variety answers, like that you ask yourself, okay, where am I today? What was right for me yesterday might not be right for me today, so this
Beautiful.
is this is a beautiful thing I want to share about this company, because so many, they're doing their thing, and this is what you can follow, or you can't, like, but this company is all about, it wants you to be able to do your thing, whatever that means for you on each individual day, which can be completely, sometimes we get up with the wrong foot and then we need a different oil than the one that we need when we jump out of bed and say hooray, so
Exactly. Okay. All right. Well, I think that's very clear. Thank you for that. Um, so I would like to ask you. We'll go into our last two questions. What is, and I think just for the sake of time, let's just do one of the pet peeves. But what would you consider to be a top pet peeve of yours?
so um I had a very difficult time to accept time, because everything in world is very instant, like, to see the sluggishness of matter and how the world is often so slow,
Mm.
that just, oh my God, that pissed me off so bad, in my younger years. I wanted to be a race driver, actually. um I love driving fast, so I have cured most of this impatience in my life and have come to a very deep gratitude for process, and all of these things. And I can see what is actually within process, and time is the gift that allows us to have a process, so it's, I have totally cured that, but I can still see myself sometimes getting a little impatient when I'm in
Mm.
traffic and people are acting stupid or slow.
Right. Right. That's a good one. Okay. And I know you mentioned it very early on into the episode, but what comes to mind as something that you're most grateful for?
There's so many things, like, I think one of the things that I'm most grateful for is the ability to grow, like, so that, the ability also that I have experienced with myself to allow to redefine myself. Like, if I see I'm wrong with something, I'll switch and be something else, like, it's like I'm smart about something for 3 months and then I'm realizing, oh, that wasn't so smart. I am able to let that go and move on to something that feels true. And that I don't mean like being a flag in the wind. It really is to deeply understand I had an incomplete vision of something, like, and now I have a completer picture and I allow to move on to that completer picture. I'm very grateful because I don't think that I could have done my life without that ability, like, because I had to do this many times over, and I'm deeply, deeply in gratitude to myself that I brought this thing along, like that made me able to do that. And as much as I'm grateful for this in myself, I'm also so grateful to everybody that grew along with me, because there's so many people in my life that at some point in life were very, very important, and maybe not always did they have a nice experience with me, like, so I'm grateful that we all chose to grow together, and that we all choose to keep doing it, and that we can come back to love and forgiveness, that these abilities exist in us humans so naturally, and that we can unfold them and make them happen to create beautiful community that is actually saturated, like somebody here in Costa Rica always says, with attitude of gratitude.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And that's beautiful. So just the one last thing, if you could tell people the best ways to find out more about you and the company, any sort of like links or codes. Of course, I'll put everything in the show notes, but what is the best way to find out more about Akasha and Cru-Essence?
So Akasha has Instagram. So it's Akasha_Sacred International. And they have Asian accounts, like, so they're, I don't know them by heart, but you will find them when you put Akasha Sacred in there. And then there is my Instagram account, it's Cru-Essence, Cru-Essence. Then there's also my website, which is also Cru-Essence.com, Cru-Essence.com. And then there's akashasacred.com. That's the page where you can actually buy, and there's also information, and all the rituals are on there. But also on their Instagram there is oops, the iPad moved. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that is available. And even if you don't have the products, like, it's still worth doing those rituals, just connect to something, that an ingredient that is in there, and imagine that you're connecting with vetiver's roots, like, to find more rooting, let the nature help you. It doesn't always have to be, it is of course amazing to have this, but if you can't afford it, like, then don't just shy away from it. And there's always stuff available in all of our Instagram and pages that can be beneficial. There will be a blog post from Akasha Sacred as well to help beauty hacks. And
Great.
And they have a Facebook page as well, but honestly, that's in Germany for now. So like, that's for German listeners, but go with the Instagram here.
I'll be able to link to everything, so that I think it'll be easy enough. But if people really want to refer back, they can either hear this piece or just refer to all the show notes. So I'll definitely list that there. And again, I want to thank you for your time. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, and apologies for having to rush, but
no.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and thank you to all the listeners and viewers. If you find this interesting, feel free to share. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, go and check out all the links that I put in the show notes, because this just helps to keep the show going, and it helps to kind of share this message of everything we talked about on the show today. So again, thank you, and talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you so much.
Walk the talk, talking facts. Move like me, but I move a little fast. Make my move, here to last. Fasten these seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better come give us a listen. Better come give us a minute or two. Open the box up, we giving you tools. Giving your engine the fuel that it needs. Breathing into it, it's autoimmune. Make a connection, we're stronger in two. Making us one of a kind of a few. Work on the mind, but show me your moves. If you do what you say, you know what to do. Yeah.
Simply walk the talk.